You're listening to the Boomtime Word of Mouth Marketing Podcast. For over 50 episodes, Boomtime has been the professional source for marketing information and inspiration. For more articles and episodes, visit us at boomtime.com and be sure to subscribe to the Word of Mouth Marketing Podcast on your iPhone or Android device to listen on the go. Now here's your host, JP Clement. Welcome to the Boomtime Word of Mouth Marketing Podcast. This is week 4 of our 8-week deep dive into your marketing funnel. Last week, we covered consideration and we touched base on some reviews, how to get them, what makes good ones, differentiators, how to define them, and how to communicate them. And we also took a look into case studies. This week, we're getting into conversion, which is our 4th step in your marketing funnel. And before we get into web-based conversion, I kind of want to talk a little bit more about traditional contact points and how they're still relevant. JP, how important do you think phone customer service is now?
Well, it's still pretty important, but it's been taken over slowly but surely by customer service based on social media channels. So now you have whole trends into Facebook for customer service, Twitter for customer service, really important too. Some companies are using Snapchat and other things like that. But phone is still pretty important. I mean, we have our own phone lines at Boomtime. We set up some phone numbers for our clients on a pretty regular basis with call rail, so their targets can contact them via phone. So phone still important, but nowhere near as quite as critical as it used to be even a couple of years ago.
How important do you think is chat or email customer service in actually converting potential customers?
Very much so. There's a survey that just got published, I think, last week, where they looked at B2B conversions, and if someone uses a chat room, which a lot of companies have enabled on their pages, homepage or landing pages, if you can respond within 5 minutes, which seems like it's a very short time frame, and it is, but for people who are doing some research on the web, it's actually quite a long time. But if you can answer within 5 minutes, your conversion rates improve by a factor of 10. It's really incredible. And so chat rooms are very important, can work very well, but they have to be manned, which becomes a problem with most companies. Have to have someone keeping an eye on these chat rooms to answer them, to answer chat questions as fast as possible. And that means that it's like having someone on standby on the phone, but it's a little bit cumbersome if you want to do it right, but they work very well. And there's all kinds of ways to do chat rooms or chat widgets on your website very inexpensively. Some of these chat widgets are amazing. They tie to not only live chats, but they also connect to your Facebook presence, to your Twitter presence, and you can do and basically you can have all your streams for customer service coming into one spot. So which is a great way, since we just talked about this. A lot of customer service is switching from phone to chat rooms and to social media. So again, another way to get back to people who are interested in what you have to offer quickly and painlessly, hopefully, and also very inexpensively.
Awesome. Yeah, I guess it's important to train some of your staff to maybe be dually versed in both support and sales at that point, right? Or at least the key points they would need to touch on.
Yes, it's a very different kind of communication style compared to people having to answer the phone, and something that a lot of companies have had to retrain their customer service people to be able to deal with that, and to do it the right way, which is quite a bit different from you.
Yeah. So I think I used to think that email marketing was getting less and less important, but I feel like now it's like more important than ever. How do you feel about it? Is it still important, and is it one of the main driving channels of marketing and sales?
Well, I have drank the boomtime Kool-Aid myself, and yes, email marketing is important, but it's been important for a long, long time. It's just that there's been so many other digital marketing tactics that have emerged, methodologies, tactics, off-the-shelf products that email marketing which has been in existence since the beginning of the internet, has really faded in terms of prominence, and or in terms of fashionability, if you want to call it that. But it's been there forever, and it is still to this day, which you can see in studies done every single year. There is a couple of studies that come out, that survey digital marketers, and they say that email marketing has the highest ROI of any digital marketing tactic that they use. So email marketing is kind of almost underestimated, unrecognized digital marketing tactic that is really one of the best ways for people to invest their digital marketing dollars in. And it's also something that people forget about, because you can get they tend to be focused on, oh, how many followers do we have on Facebook, or likes on Facebook, how many followers do we have on Instagram, how many people am I connected with on LinkedIn, and those become the big measures. But on every single one of these platforms, you do not own your follower list or your likes list or your connection list. Those companies do. You don't. So your email list is a huge asset that you control, that you own, that also generates, as we just mentioned, great ROI. Email marketing is so critical that I truly believe that it should be part of every digital marketer's arsenal, and everybody should take a look at email marketing, just because it's really inexpensive. You can measure pretty much everything that you do with email marketing, which is critical. And it works. It's very simply, it works. It's probably the best way to retain your current customers or your current leads, to stay top of mind with them, and it's a really incredible asset that is very underutilized and underappreciated.
I agree. And yeah, I don't actually use social media anymore. I still look at it to kind of determine best practices for clients and kind of stay up to date with the trends and stuff. But one of the things I do that I think is like an ever recurring resource for me is every email I ever click to open up a product or a page or something, or especially if it makes me buy something, I tag it in my Gmail and I save it. So I have like all of the emails that ever caught my interest, and I have this like big library of working marketing tactics, right, that I can reference at any time.
Mhm.
Do you remember the last email you signed up for, or the last email that made you buy something? And you don't necessarily have to tell us what it was, but what did you like about it?
Um, yeah, so I do. I'm a big consumer of email as well. Although I have to say that I've kind of switched from email newsletters to RSS feeds, and so a lot of my content I consume in my RSS feed. But in a way, an RSS feed is very similar to an email marketing campaign. But so but I still do get a lot of emails. I subscribe to a lot of email newsletters, and actually one that I subscribed to not too long ago is about, and it's because we've discussed it many times, my passion for music and digital, actually analog music. And so I subscribe to several companies that sell LPs, vinyl records. And one of them was just amazing, because they probably picked up my name from Bands in Town, which is a concert app. but a concert app that looks at what music you listen to on your devices and basically recommends bands that tour or have concerts in today, virtual concerts, but still concerts nonetheless, and market to you basically based on your taste. But they recognize that I'd been listening to this one band a lot, and they sent me an offer for a special edition version of the record that I've been listening to this past year quite a bit. um, and it was very, very well done. So the targeting was spot on. No, they obviously had a lot of data on my listening habits, and used that to a greater advantage. The email was very well written, and it had a beautiful picture of the product. So all of these things I think were very, very, very well done, and really kind of, I was like the perfect target for that, and they recognized that. And although it was not necessarily a cheap purchase, it was incredible. And then so that's the kind of things that I will respond to. So to me, it's the targeting is critical. A lot of emails still suffer from poor targeting. But those tend to be probably from bot lists. Obviously much easier to target properly when it's your own list. And we highly recommend at Boomtime that you don't use as a marketer external lists or bot lists. But that's so targeting critical. You absolutely need a catchy headline or subject in your email, and that's something that was very well done very well in that the example that I gave you. You also need, for me at least, really great copy with simple but powerful calls to action. And if you can add a video or a great image, it's been proven that that works very, very well and increases your click-through rates tremendously. In the very case, that was a beautiful, really, really top-notch image. And so all these elements, are testable too in marketing, but in their case, that everything was really spot on. So the good thing about the email marketing is because you can measure everything. You can A/B test very easily. You can segment very well and easily. There are all kinds of great tools out there that have been developed, like MailChimp and Constant Contact, to manage your email list and manage your email marketing campaigns. So really, it's kind of it's this well-oiled machine, digital email marketing, where people have been doing it for so long, and it's been researched to death, and it still works. So highly recommend it.
I do agree. And one thing I don't think we'll get into today, but segueing from email, is PPC, and I think we'll have to do another episode probably to dive into PPC, as it's kind of its own thing, and it's a whole can of worms that we could probably do 10 episodes on at least. But from a targeted ad campaign or a targeted email campaign, the next step is going to be the landing page. And this is something I think a lot of people could use help on. So starting off, do you think it's important to have a relevant landing page or a targeted landing page for every different campaign?
Short answer is yes. Landing pages are also kind of an underestimated and underrepresented digital marketing tactic. I think it's super important that your email campaigns point to a very specific page. You might already have a page that kind of acts as a landing page as a company, but because your email marketing campaign should be targeted, should have been segmented, you need to be able to talk to each one of these segments in a very specific way. And so the landing page is a perfect place to do that. you don't want to push people to your homepage, for instance, from a marketing an email marketing campaign or a PPC campaign, as you described, that you're not going to have the kind of impact and results and conversions that you would have on a well-designed landing page. So landing pages kind of are it's almost like the corollary to email marketing campaigns. Very high ROI, can be incredibly efficient, and great at generating those conversions, or capturing leads, depending on what your conversion event is. But there's a lot of things that you can do with landing pages. But the most important part is that they need to be targeted to whatever the campaign topic or the campaign message is, and targeted also not only to that but to the audience that you specifically are targeting with those campaigns. And so there are a lot of things that go into landing pages, but they they also, there is a science behind those as well, just like email marketing, in terms of what content you should have, what kind of forms you should have, calls to action, and so on. And again, something that's been studied and researched quite a bit. So there's a lot of good studies and really a lot of great white papers and things like that out there if you look for them, that tells you how to do landing pages. We recommend for our clients at Boomtime that they do landing pages as a matter of course. It's baked into our campaigns, and something that we do all the time.
What do you think are some of the biggest mistakes or easiest things to correct that people frequently make on landing pages?
So they have to be totally in sync, as I said, with the target audience and the message, the campaign message, which is something that sometimes some of them are not quite as tightly focused, and that's something that is critical. And then there is a whole series of mistakes that people make, but you absolutely need to have some kind of a form, and you can A/B test your forms, right? You can try complex forms from very complex to very simple forms, but you absolutely need to have a lead capture device on those landing pages. Sometimes that doesn't happen, and there might be some other reasons behind that, but to me, that's one of the big mistakes that companies make, is not having those forms, not testing various forms also, and again, it's kind of, it seems like marketing 101, but it's something that some people forget. Like, you need to have clear and powerful calls to action. You need a call to action, period, but they need to be very clear and very powerful. You see a lot of that's something that gets forgotten a little bit as well. You will have someone leaving the default text in the submit button in the form, like submit, right? Not very impactful. Calls to action have to be specific. They have to use action verbs. They have to and they have to tell, to let people know, explain to people what they need to do next, which is what you want them to do. But those calls to actions are super important as well.
Yeah, I agree. And so after we capture these leads, the next step is to get them into some sort of a system where you can follow up with them and track them and have some sort of workflow, right? I feel like there's so many CRMs and integrations and things that there's almost not a best practice, and it's kind of daunting. But what do you think are some of the fundamentals of organizing and following up with and executing on captured leads?
Yeah, so to me, captured leads should go to two places. They should go directly into your email list, but with some qualifiers, just so you know where they came from, what kind of vertical maybe they are related to, what target or segment was targeted, and so on. And that's important, just having an email address and a name in your email list is not quite enough. You need to know, as I said, where it came from, why they came here, and and so on. And they should go also directly into your CRM. So Pipedrive, Salesforce.com, Pardot, HubSpot, because this is where your Salesforce is going to be doing most of their work. And so those forms are obviously, those are pretty warm leads at that point, and they should be treated as such. So there is all kinds of tools in this day and age that allow you to feed directly from a landing page or a lead capture device on your landing page to any kind of CRM system. I mean, some of them you can link directly depending on what kind of forms you use. So for instance, a Gravity form will lead directly, you can feed directly into Pipedrive, HubSpot, or Salesforce.com. And if not, you can also use, of course, Zaps from Zapier that can do the same kind of have exactly the same kind of effect. But so you need to capture quite a few details about those leads, so that the integration into your CRM is as efficient and effective as possible. And that's why I think we're talking a lot about testing forms. This is what obviously a longer form gives you more information, but it's less likely to be filled. A shorter form, less information, but way more likely to be filled. So you have to see what your specific target market appetite for forms is, and see what works, see what doesn't work.
That's super great. So I think at this point we've made it over the hump, and we're going downhill in our funnel. And so next week we're talking about, after you've converted, what the customer experience is like. In week 5, we'll get into customer service, fulfillment, and satisfaction. And that's it for this week. Thanks for joining us on the Boomtime Word of Mouth Marketing Podcast, week 4 on conversion. See you next time. Thanks for listening to this episode of the Boomtime Word of Mouth Marketing Podcast. For more episodes and to learn more about us, check us out at boomtime.com.